Hi, my name is Eduardo Rosas and I'm here with another video for Xamarin Wednesdays. In this video, I'm going to talk about two main changes to Xamarin that came actually last week when the Build conference from Microsoft was held. So there are of course some new things to Xamarin, some other things that were discussed, but I'm just going to talk about these two main changes because I believe are the most important, the most dramatic changes and the ones that matter the most to us developers. Now, in order to talk about this, we have to take a step back to 3 to 4 weeks ago when Microsoft announced that they were acquiring Xamarin, and that was a huge announcement that some of us actually saw coming because, let's face it, it was obvious, but it was finally made official a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and when the announcement was made public, some people were asking Microsoft to actually make Xamarin free. And to be honest, I didn't thought that was going to happen, or at least not this fast. But last week on the Build conference, they announced that Xamarin comes for free with the new versions of Visual Studio. So if you have Visual Studio 2015, and you just have to update to install the update 2 for Visual Studio 15, and there you go, you have Xamarin for free, starting in the free community edition of Visual Studio. So you can get Visual Studio for free, that includes Xamarin for free, so you can start building your iOS and Android applications with C# for free. Like, it's a big news. It's great for small businesses, it's great for small teams that couldn't really afford $1,000 a year worth of Xamarin. Well, it's now free, and it's amazing. Now, the second big news that I want to talk about is an iOS emulator for Windows. Now, so far, of course, you have your Windows PC and your Mac in order to build Xamarin applications that run on iOS. And of course, on Windows, you have your Windows emulators and your Android emulators. But if you wanted to test your application, of course, on Visual Studio you could build your iOS application, use the code and everything, and design the application itself. But when you wanted to run the application on an emulator, you have to turn your chair all the way to your Mac and build the application on an emulator that is running on your Mac. And it wasn't that bad. But now the emulator is actually on your PC as well. So Miguel de Casa demoed a version of the iOS emulator that runs on Windows, so you actually have all of the emulators you need on your Windows PC. And this is in context with something that Microsoft also talked about, that they want Windows to really be the best ecosystem for developers. And it really is right now, at least for mobile developers, because right on your Windows PC you can build on Visual Studio, which is a great IDE, the greatest IDE out there, at least on my perspective. And you can, on the best IDE existing, build Android and iOS and Windows applications and test them directly into your PC, because now you also have that iOS emulator. Now, of course, you have the Xamarin Android player, which in my perspective is the best Android emulator out there. It's really fast compared to the original Google Android emulator, which, to be honest, and you all know that, is really slow. But you can have your Android emulator, whether it's the Google's version or the Xamarin's version. And of course, you have Windows emulators, Windows Phone emulators, or Windows Mobile emulators. And now you actually have iOS emulators. So that is great, and that has helped Windows become a great ecosystem for mobile developers, at least. Now, the downside, as I understand it, is that you will still need the Mac. So you of course have the emulator right there on your PC, but you will still need your Mac right there connected through Wi-Fi to your Visual Studio instance. Sorry. To your Visual Studio instance, your emulator, your C# compiler, The designer will still need a connectivity to the Mac, but it's kind of cool to suddenly have an iOS emulator on your PC. Now, at the moment of recording this video, I don't believe that is ready and that is available yet, but they announced it and they demoed it and it worked really well in the demo, so hopefully we'll be seeing it soon in our PCs. So that's it for today's video. Please, I'm going to add some links in the description for you to check out my getting started guides to Xamarin and the Xamarin 101 playlist that I have available here on YouTube. And I'm going to add a link in the description also for you to download Visual Studio or the update to Visual Studio for you to have Xamarin free, because that is available now. So see you next week.